Hello.
Hi. Hey, Swara.
Hi, it's so nice to finally connect with you. I'm
Exactly, same here.
so sorry about the delay. The video conferencing software took a little bit of
It's
time to install.
totally all right. It was just not, we were not getting the right schedule and time, I
Yeah.
guess.
But
But
how was your day? Like, how's stuff going with the lockdown in India?
it's just Narendra Modi announced the 21 day lockdown. That's till 14th April, I suppose. So the policemen are actually more alert and they are actually beating people who are getting outside of their houses. So it's a proper lockdown. Things have been really creepy actually. People are worried, they are, I don't know, just panicked all the time. How's been thing in USA?
Completely understand. Stuff out here is pretty bad too because I live in New York and
Okay.
we've gone over 40,000 cases.
Oh my god,
Yeah, and
that's a lot.
it's really bad in like the tri-state area, especially has seen a lot of deaths, and we're running out of ventilators. I don't go to school right now because we have a 3 week break, like because of the
Yeah,
coronavirus epidemic out here, and we're
yeah,
hoping that people just like follow their social distancing rules and
because yeah, that's how we can stop it. There's no other way out.
exactly. I'm just a little concerned about like the spread in India because of the population that um
Population, yeah, and people, the government actually have started those midday meal schemes or something. They are providing food to 80 crore of poverty-stricken people. So that's
exactly.
the first
So
step. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully all of that gets nice soon. But
Yeah.
before we begin, just a bunch of logistical things to go over. There's a consent form and an interviewee feedback form that I'll be sending to you shortly after the interview, and we just like require those to like make sure that the interview can be published and you're like
Oh,
satisfied with like the entire experience. So it's just a simple thing to fill out on Google Drive. So I'll just share it with you.
okay, okay.
And
I'm sure.
I'll begin with telling you a little bit about myself. So, I'm a high
Yeah.
school senior at the Harris High School in Long Island, New York, but I was born and raised in Mumbai. I moved here at the beginning of my junior year of high school, so that's when I just turned 16. And I'm super passionate about gender equality and human rights. So I do a lot of Model UN, and I'm involved with a bunch of clubs at high school, such as Amnesty International, where we advocate for human rights, and Herrick's Helping Hands and Herrick's Period, where we work for menstrual equity and social justice within the local community. Apart from that, just growing up in India, I'm super passionate about breaking the menstrual taboo and improving access to period products, which
Yeah.
is why I began the Period Society shortly before I moved here. So those are a bunch
Okay.
of things that I'm really, really involved in, and especially with like feminism, I'm also involved in reproductive rights and making sure that
Nice.
like access to reproductive rights is something that even marginalized communities and low income communities can access. So that's a little bit about me. And like in my free time, I like watch Netflix. I'm a Bharatnatyam dancer, and I
Wow.
tend to read a lot. So those are a bunch of my hobbies. I was wondering if you could like kind of give me a little introduction of yourself too.
Yeah, okay. That was super amazing. You are doing a lot of things.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm a 19-year-old undergraduate student at Carnegie College, Delhi University. So I'm pursuing English literature, and in addition to my bachelor's, I'm also pursuing a minor in philosophy, which I will be completing in the next academic year. And moreover, I'm recognized for my work in poetry, designing, outreach, and leadership skills. Um, so it's like I'm a collective change maker. I believe in empowering my work while connecting to a real change. And fundamental to my work at various student run nonprofit organizations and board groups, I have always led a learning experience with an exclusive group of women entrepreneurs of PR, public relations, digital marketing groups, and writing agencies. Also, as a young believer and feminist, I help women in my community build, monitor their own self, and generally speaking, I take pride in being engaged, embrace change, and advocate strongly for women in politics and external relations. So, my fundamentals in life would be representing balance and transformation, and the importance of women in forming a better world around us, which is a great deal in India, unfortunately.
Yes. Um,
So, yeah, in my free time, I like to eat. Yeah, that's all I can say. I also do graphic designing and I read a lot because, yes, I do English literature. I study English literature, and my favorite author is Charles Dickens.
That is extremely cool. I feel especially with like empowering women in India, I feel something that a lot of NGOs and like people get wrong is the fact they just like try to go into a community they don't know a lot about and empower it rather than like involving the women in that change making and like, just kind of making the systemic change
Exactly.
where you use like women entrepreneurs and like women in every level of change making and like the society. So I feel that that's
Yeah,
something really cool that you do. And I love Charles
thank
Dickens
you.
too. But the last book that I remember reading was Oliver Twist, so that was nice.
Yeah, but
Okay.
there are a lot of novels actually, but the current one I'm reading is by Charles Dickens, so I just said that he's my favorite because there's a lot of books.
Of course. So, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about your ethnicity, your childhood, and the city you were born in, like any memories you associate with that or something that sticks out to you as like particularly formative for you.
Okay, so about my childhood. I was born in Haryana. There's a village called Chakarpur, so it's in Haryana only. It's in Gurgaon
Mm-hmm.
actually. So I was born there, brought up there. Since my childhood, I have seen gender inequality penetrate into villages because it's something which you can't take off people's mind. It's patriarchy, it's societal system. So I have seen gender discrimination in my own home because my relatives they were like very much into this whole system of patriarchy and society. So they used to tell um, they were like curbing my education to a huge level, but my father and my mother were really supportive in everything, so they didn't pay heed to that. And overall, it was a I don't really remember about my childhood actually, but I have seen gender discriminations on a very huge level since then into my school education. That was actually from Delhi Public School. So after that, I started studying, and there were things which opened my mind, very, very wide areas of feminism and English literature on a very huge level played a role that actually changed my perspectives. So yeah, that's all.
Um, yeah, I totally relate to like the gender discrimination like in households like in India because while my parents like never followed that and as the only child and I feel that within my immediate family I had like a very happy childhood. I feel that definitely like from a lot of relatives like just like the casual
Exactly.
sexism or like the kind of remarks that they passed or like just make knowing that like I was gonna get an extra censure for like stuff that I did than my male cousins like it yeah it was definitely like a part of growing up which I didn't really like. And I feel that literature definitely like exposed me to like a lot of feministic perspectives too. Like I remember reading a lot of books by Jhumpa Lahiri and Arundhati Roy, like both
Yeah,
female
I
authors
remember.
like with a very strong voice. And like I also read a lot of books by Chitra Banerjee, Diva Karuni. Like she has this book called The Palace of Illusions where she tells the
Yeah,
Mahabharata from Draupadi's perspective. And just like reading like about all of these female characters with such a strong voice and like highlighting the patriarchy but at the same time like highlighting like the power and like the internal strength and resilience that these characters held. I feel that
true that.
that was definitely something that helped me frame my own perspective like growing up in India.
Yeah, as young children, we are connected to a force, like it's within us that is among the most powerful. So it's it was something authentic and true, that the wonderment that why is patriarchy so embedded in people, and yeah, it is also the primary source of all the problems related to uh, to rape, to sati, and all the historic and current problems.
Exactly. And I was wondering whether you could tell me what it was like growing up as a woman, like in Gurgaon or like Haryana.
Yeah, so that I realized after all these things that recently I have never expressed my anger or frustration to someone before. So since then, my top goal for the majority of my life was to make people realize what they are, like what they are doing. I was drowning in this idea that I was meant to serve, or I was meant to like hold on to all this. So the sheer happiness of doing things you love was somehow which I wasn't enjoying, or something which I have to do despite of having many other dreams. But as I said, that my mother and father were very supportive, so I always saw and went through this gender discrimination with my relatives who like to compare. Yeah, that's a girl, and my brother. I have a brother also, so whether it may be related to clothes, education, or whether my brother were allowed to roam anywhere freely at any times, whether as my freedom was always restricted to, yeah, you have to stay home or households, and always informing my parents about the tiniest of things that I had to do. Plus, they always wanted me to someone to accompany me, keeping in mind the time period. So yeah, that were the things.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of this mindset, like, definitely kind of is something that you see, like, when a lot of heinous crimes in India are committed, right? Because they'll always ask you, where was the girl at? What was she wearing? What was the time of the day? Because
Yeah,
I know that, like, after some of the most controversial, like, gang rapes, like, instances of, like, abuse in India, that it's shocking how some of our politicians, like, put these kind of, like, questions out.
questions.
And
Yeah,
yeah, and um just like the idea that a woman's like born to serve is something that I feel that even if like I haven't seen it at like that much of a degree in my own life, it's definitely something that I've seen with my eyes, because just the way like
yeah,
Indian households work like out here, like um in most families that I've seen, like not my own, but men and women, like just distribute their work equally, and like doing household
equally.
chores and stuff.
Yeah,
But in India, it's like the woman, like even if she's working, she needs to like balance everything. And
balance out. True.
yeah, I live with my aunt and uncle, and like my aunt was telling me when she was pregnant, my uncle, who's a doctor, used to help out with the dishes, and like her in-laws told her something like, why is he helping out with dishes? He's a man, and just that kind
Oh,
of male ego that's like that's like really
that
prevalent.
toxic masculinity is like really embedded into people. Toxic,
Exactly.
toxic.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if you watched the movie Kabir Singh, but that's like a really
Yeah, it
um
is
um
really.
amazing example of how like we tend to glorify like those macho man like stereotypes, and more than that, like for this toxic masculinity, like it leads to so many.
Even the director is actually supporting all the points. He's saying that if you love someone, then you are equally. What did he say? That you can slap that person if you are in love or something. That's domestic violence. Any kind of violence is assaulted
Yes.
actually, and that was portrayed in that movie.
Exactly, and I feel that a perfect response to that is this new movie that's coming up with Tapsi Pannu. I think it's called Thappad, but it's about a
Thappad,
yeah, a
yeah,
woman who
Thappad.
like initiates a
And
divorce. Like
actually, people should go and watch out with their moms, with their fathers. They should go and watch out that movie. It's awesome.
yeah, I feel like people call it trivial, but I feel like the minute like you start physically abusing someone, or like even emotionally abuse your partners, like when you like cross a very big line in a relationship, and I feel that India definitely needs more content like that.
More of that. True.
So Can you yourself think of a time when you felt particularly aware of your gender and how it led you to be treated like at any point of time in your life?
Okay, so yeah, I'm strong and I totally believe that, but the freedom of doing things as per my wish has been the only hurdle that I have been facing since my childhood, just that I told you. Until now, uh even after being college, you have to they keep on calling, they are like, where are you? You have maybe you have a boyfriend or something, you can't do this, you can't do that. I still face the same situation of being curtailed to patriarchy and societal forces. So this is how I became aware that obviously girls are not the same as boys in the in this society, in the Indian patriarchy, even in many parts of the world. So that's why I started joining these non-profit organizations for women empowerment, and they have been motivating me since then. So as per my opinion, they can only empower themselves when people around them support their dreams. So the role of parents in being with their daughters throughout is a must. They need to stop listening to their neighbors, to their relatives, and anyone who tries to bring the gender down to only marriage as a destiny in women's life. They should be having the freedom to do anything, just to believe in yourself. And yeah.
Yeah, I definitely relate, just even though my parents like themselves like never had like any of these stereotypes in their mind, like their relatives and neighbors, and like a phrase that you often hear is log kya kahenge, like if you wear
Yeah,
this, if you wear that,
right.
like I think that's ridiculous, but I feel that that's like it or not, it's like a part of life in like India, and I personally, when the time comes, like want to uproot some of those norms and like kind of set an example by being different. But
True.
can you tell me a little bit more about what you're most passionate about or interested or enjoy doing? Like maybe one of your non-profit organizations or a cause that like you particularly champion.
Okay, so my 20s. So I'm just gonna be turning 20 next month. So these times are the definite time when I usually feel really overwhelmed and intimidated. The not so clear roadmap to fulfillment or the key to success, like getting good grades, getting into the right college, etc. Sometimes takes a toll on my mental health. So in the real world, where there are no more stepping stones laid out carefully for you, there's a lot of uncertainty. But I still figured out ways to make myself feel accomplished and feel confident about that. So by leaning into the feminist incline, whilst I started advocating for empowering myself and girls with the confidence and committed to education, gender equality, and interacting the strengths of diverse women had made my purposes more clear. I actually have options in my life, which makes me powerful and thankful about. Uh, so yeah, I'm happy that since my college started, I honed my skills and learned how to speak rather than following the typical internet societal patriarchal paths. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely cool, and it kind of like leads me to the next question, which is, can you like tell me about a specific time when you empowered yourself?
A specific time.
Or like just any time you felt that you empowered yourself?
Okay, so I would say that I'm emotionally strong enough. In an ironic way, I represent myself with a better purpose of life. So I like to, like I met people, I met inspirational women actually, which enhanced my ways of thinking. I started doing internships, got associated with these nonprofit organizations, and with the onset of time, I actually became more empowered. It was not a specific time per se, but
Mm-hmm.
gradually I started uh, leaning into this whole system of empowerment and reaching out to other people as well, other women as well, who are going through these times. Or yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I like how you said that it's like a gradual process and like empower yourself over time because I feel that's like perfectly valid. Like, I had a similar experience like with the menstrual taboo, right? Like earlier
Yeah,
when my mom like just told me like these bunch of rules, like when I got my period, I was like, okay, I
yeah,
didn't really like them, but I felt like I had to follow them. I'd be doing something wrong, like if I just worshipped, like went to the temple, like when I had my period, or if I like touched food when I had my period, which and then like over time like I learned about it in school, and then slowly I began like questioning the taboo and like just like thinking about it rationally, that I got to a point where like I couldn't believe in it or like stick with it anymore. So I feel that it's not always like a very drastic change, but at times it can be something like really gradual. Like you don't even notice like before you start questioning something or changing something about yourself or the world. So you mentioned like how felt that as a child, like you were treated differently because you were a girl, and there were instances of sexism that you faced. So, do
yeah.
you have any advice for girls who are also trying to realize their power and empower themselves, and how should they practice that in their daily life?
Okay, so I have learned that whatever shackles I had to face shouldn't be actually faced by many other girls that are living around the country. So I think, according to me, they should be given the freedom to follow their dreams. The advice is just to stay empowered and be strong enough to actually challenge others' authorities who are trying to bring you down. And yeah, they should reach out to other organizations who are actually working for these things, for all the for all the girls who are actually, you know, getting through these tough times, or their parents are not allowing allowing them to study or whatever. So, in providing the right to education and equally provide with everyone the right to educate is education is something that plays the most important and part in a girl's life, or in everyone's life actually. If we educate a woman, we educate a generation. Actually, that's a thought. So she will be the one who will be passing on the thoughts and will not be confined to hierarchies anywhere in her life. So a woman in herself is power. She has the capability to do anything. She just needs some support and willpower to break the circle or gender hierarchy. So firstly within her home and then outside that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like any woman, right, like within a city or like within a village in India, like has the ability to like do things and like be empowered. But I feel like, just like accessing the resources and like just kind of getting into the kind of mindset where you believe that you can like lead a different life or choose for yourself is something that's like needed like.
Just a minute. I'm so sorry. I just had
No
this.
worries, I hope you're okay.
Yeah, yeah, just drank water.
Okay. So, I was
So where were
wondering
we?
if you could tell me about who taught you the importance of empowerment.
Okay, so who taught me this? My mother actually. She has been someone who's actually confined to these thoughts at the first place, but then gradually when I started my college, she became more open-minded. She started actually she was more like a social person, but confined to her only household things. But was I started studying English literature and many other things in college, started advocating for women empowerment. I tried to break the shackles for her inside my own household. So she has been the one who's been supportive for me throughout, and she fights with my father whether I should, when he tries to do that gender inequality thing in my own house. So then she actually supports me throughout this process. And um oh, what was it I'm saying? So it's an internal thing. I'm past the point of looking to other people to make me feel powerful and happy. Thus, I'm proud of the person I am today and look up to. And it is important to know our limitations, but to also know our strengths and fully step into those strengths. So, my mother is the one who's been supporting my passions because every person has unique interests and skills. I believe that if each of those were activated and celebrated, our world would be a much better place.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you about that. Like, the point where you're at where you feel empowered and happy with yourself is like where a lot of people strive to get, because I
Yeah,
feel that at one point of time, like just being able to source this from yourself means that you constantly feel powerful, you constantly feel empowered, and like you don't have to rely on someone else. But it's definitely
exactly.
nice hearing how your mom, like, taught you about the importance of empowerment and advocated for you. And I feel that just like if women in India like did that for each other, they'd definitely like be able to put like a much like stronger front, like kind of dismantling all of the patriarchy. And
Yeah.
just like kind of by themselves like stopping like all of these regressive house attitudes of their own households. Like I feel that that's like a really significant change, like when done collectively. And can you like tell me about why you personally think that empowerment is important to you?
Why empowerment? Because that's actually what will lead to a change. So leaders in such as in feminist theories and all the economy growth in history, the rationale for being a feminist and arguments on how existing gender injustices, dynamics, and double standards harm us all. It greatly resonates for me, and that's where empowerment steps in. Since then, the legacies of powerful and empowering women have had a great impact, who can make things happen, change their lives, create a difference, speak for others, and take risk to overcome the societal changes. That's where empowerment steps in. And people recognize how you are actually trying to bring those things into the real world. So my deep curiosity uh, of how girls are being treated, and they even and if they tell me about these things, I connect with them. I connect with them meaningfully, and as a leader, I value that diversity of thought. And to broaden my own perspectives, I tell them that this is right or this is wrong, and that you should step up. You should ask a question that why are you treating us indifferently? That's where empowerment steps in. You have to empower yourself to empower others.
Definitely.
That's all.
Yeah, I feel that it, you touch on the importance of empowering yourself before you empower others. And that's something that's played out in my life, because at times I felt that I felt like constrained by like a bunch of things. And like before I got rid of those, like I didn't know how I could stand up for anyone else, because at one point of time, like when I was doing
Yeah.
model UN committees on like gender equality and stuff, I was like, oh, I follow the menstrual taboo at home, and like all of these like kind of stupid restrictions. And I don't know why I follow them, but at the same time out here, like I'm preaching about gender equality. Like there's a part of it that didn't feel authentic to me till I myself could like question all of these norms and like break free of them. So I feel that definitely like a turning point in my life was when I like challenged these norms at home, and then like challenge them outside. And your message of like
Yeah.
why empowerment is important to you definitely resonates with me.
Yeah, even India, it's like a developing country, and many developing countries are clearly seeing a revolution from women entrepreneurs, from the Gen Z women entrepreneurs, and they do not come from the well-established business families or the from the higher income sections of the population. They come from all walks of life and from all parts of the world. So that's amazing that actually women are empowering themselves with all forms that they have got.
And definitely, I feel that in the world of like entrepreneurship and business, there's like this entire like gap in like women who lead and like who own
Yeah,
businesses. And I feel that if that gap's like kind of filled out and like there's more equity in that, I feel that it'll definitely generate like a lot more jobs for like other women, and like help them like see themselves like in positions of power and influence. And I feel that that'll create like a really cool kind of like systemic change. And
true.
really looking forward to the time like when more like women entrepreneurs and like just we have more women CEOs, more women who are like founding successful startups and like generating like jobs and like being like a role model for like other young girls and women.
Yeah, that's the time we are all looking forward to,
Yeah,
and constantly making change for that.
definitely agree. And what do you enjoy and appreciate about being a woman and experiencing girlhood, which is the process of growing up as a girl and becoming a woman and all that comes with that process?
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. So, why do you enjoy and appreciate being a woman and experiencing girlhood? So,
Okay.
we define girlhood as the process of growing up as a girl and becoming a woman and all that comes with that process, but feel free to add like your own thoughts and ideas, like your own definition of the word.
Okay, so what about that? I'm an extrovert by nature and totally enjoy networking and meeting new people. So I anticipate developing both personally and professionally from these experiences. So being an extrovert plus a girl actually excites me to continue explore different cultures around the world, and it's something. It's a own confidence in your own self, and having options in life to make yourself powerful and thankful about. So in the chase of life and advancing and being young and a girl making mistakes and being fearless and ignoring oneself, it is getting easy to get lost in goals, and sometimes you just ignore your own health and self-care. So yeah, I try to figure out who I am every day. But being a girl is being confident in your own self. I'm amazingly thankful that I am fighting for this whole patriarchal system and constantly empowering myself through. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I think your answer was definitely really cool and just being a girl like definitely places you in a very unique position to fight like patriarchy because you're the one experiencing it all the time. So I feel that it makes it like so personal and just like every little victory or struggle every little struggle that you overcome like just feels like such a huge victory. And I
Yeah,
definitely feel like right now, like being a girl, I'm part of like a revolution, like, to change things and like, hopefully, like, watch that change materialize in my life, like, as we move towards a more gender equal world. And I think that's really, really powerful. And
that is.
I was wondering, how can the international community help you and your community in a legitimate way? So, feel free to define your community as your country, organizations that you're involved with, or that a cause that you champion.
Okay, so I'm involved with various nonprofit organizations, one being Girl Power Talk, and they are constantly giving young girls the opportunities to shatter those shackles which they face in their households, of course. So I've been associated with them as a young leader. So they strive to inspire girls with the persistence, empathy, and confidence. And Girl Power Talk, I have been associated with the past 1 year actually, since my college started. And yeah, they empower young women with the merit-based opportunities as well to grow and achieve their full potential. And they're relentlessly committed to education, gender equality, and integrating the strengths of specially abled communities. So we wholly celebrate the diverse talents of each individual, and that's been superb to just serve with them and actually work. I have learned a lot of things. And also, I'm associated with Girl Up campaign, and there is a Girl Up club in my own college that's called Girl Up Delhi. So through our nurturing culture and mentorship and all the girlhood, we instill young women with the with workshops, with knowledge and purposes in life. They can reach out to us. We also fundraise and conduct campaigns. We provide a platform to share their voices and stories of girls and women across India, because that's where girl empowerment is really needed. So we have been changing lives together, one girl, one woman, and one human being at a time. Also, I've been associated with this Leading Women of Tomorrow. It's a USA. It's in USA actually, but I have been working remotely. I'm a national board member there, and it's a non-partisan organization working for women to run for office. So that's also because we need women in political advocacy, in external relations, and global representation of women. And I also was interested in politics at some point of time, and I ran for I stood up for this government for these elections in college, and I hold the position of vice president now. So yeah, these are the organizations that I have been associated with, and now the Period Society, of course. That
That's
would be, yeah, because menstruation is such a taboo, such a taboo. I have been I'm meeting these girls and they said मम्मी ने बोला है ये नहीं करना because we have periods. That's been really hectic and sad to hear that girls are not provided the information and the right education of menstruation. Yeah, that's all.
definitely. I think the work that you're doing is just so cool. I'm kind of overwhelmed, like especially helping young women run for office. Like I'm really waiting for the day when the United States has its first female president, and when
Yeah,
the United Nations has its first female secretary general, which just like blows my mind that like in the history of
yeah,
this
same
country,
here.
like we've never had a woman hold that office. And but I definitely feel that coming, and like there's so many like young and like upcoming women out there, like especially AOC, who's like one of the youngest like elected members of Congress, and like I don't know, I see her as president in like 10 years, and just
Yeah,
watching all these amazing like women sit down me like just waiting to see them as president. I mean, I think it's kind of unfortunate that it hasn't happened already, but I definitely like foresee it happening like within my lifetime, and I'm like so excited for when that day
so
comes.
excited. Exactly,
Yeah.
because even I don't know when it will happen in India, because India already ranks 153 out of the 190 nations in the percentage of women in the lower house of world parliaments, and which is of course an alarming rate of lack of women in politics. And it is something that will advance gender equality and affect both the range of policy issues that the current government is not paying heed to, and that needs to be that's need to start indicating and establishing that there is a strong evidence that as more women are elected to office, there will be an increase for the emphasis of quality of life and the priorities of families, women, ethnic and racial minorities. Everything will just improve.
Definitely, I feel like we need women who like don't just come from like these like dynasty families in India, like represent like the
Congress, yeah,
political
we have that.
agenda of like the party, but like women who like run grassroots campaigns and like understand social issues. But I feel like there's also a need for like voter education and civic engagement, because even in India, I feel like of late, like politics, like I wouldn't say like as polarized as the USA, but it's definitely like there's a lot of like communal and like caste based factors that go in, and like educating women and girls from a young age to kind of like vote like based on like the agenda, like the manifesto like that the candidate puts forward, like what this person's position is on social issues and like economic issues
True,
and stuff
true.
that actually affects the community, like regardless of like their caste or religion. And just thinking about, I feel that a lot of like women candidates like still like fail to like push forth like agendas such as like ending dowry or like just
Yeah, dowry, yeah.
working on stuff like that, because I think it's absolutely crazy how like dowry is still so prevalent. Because when I lived in India for a period of time, like till I was 13 or 14, we had a driver who was like very close to our family, and when we went to his daughter's wedding, like I was absolutely shocked because that was the first time I was witnessing like dowry. And like the um
Oh my
his
God.
yeah, the family was like of the person his daughter was marrying, like was demanding extra sweets and stuff from him. He was paying for most of the
That's
wedding.
very common actually, and they
Yeah.
have to literally work for it, and all their the amount that they had collected all their lives, they just need to pay it for that in their daughter's marriage. They are like they're collecting for it for their daughter's marriage because people just can't stop asking for dowries. They are, I don't know what
Even
it's all about education. Yeah,
yeah.
who's getting the more stronger and more representative education, and that will how the democracies that will work for all the people.
Even families which don't take dowries, right? Like, just like I feel that, when you think about the big fat Indian wedding, at times, like, they just like give what they label as gifts, or, the
Yeah,
girl's family usually ends up, like, even in, like, what do you call, like, more elite families, like, ends up paying for, like, the entire wedding, which is
yeah,
crazy to me. And I have to say this might have happened in my own family too. And also, like, I don't know, some of the customs that we follow during the wedding, like, I particularly wouldn't want in my own, such as, like, the father
true.
washing the feet
Even
of,
that
like, the,
Anya dancing, that is
yeah, like, I just feel like patriarchy is, like, so ingrained in, like,
yeah,
all of this. Like, people need to see past the celebration and, like, actually realize that this is an issue. And
right.
I feel that definitely having, like, female candidates in India who feel strongly about this and getting voted into office, like, will be really cool. But so far, I feel that there's just, like, so much of sensationalism in politics, and, like, apart from corruption, just like the communal divide and, like, the recent riots and stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Like, I feel that people really need to see past that, and that starts with, like, civic engagement, because in the USA there are, like, a lot of non-profit opportunities, and, like, students can intern with, like, organizations related to government and social studies. Like, civics
Yeah, because
especially is
that's what's
mandatory.
lacking in India on a very huge level.
Exactly, I feel like we're just, like, so oriented with, like, grades and, like, doing well
Yeah,
in your
it's
board
like a rat
exams.
race. It's like a rat race.
So definitely, like, I feel that this is something that would be very cool. And also, that brings me to, like, the last kind of, like, structured question that we have. And that was, is there anything that you would like us to know so we can share it with the global girlhood community?
Okay, what I would like to say, um, I would say that the only thing that bothers me about the world today is lack of awareness and right education. And awareness and education is knowing yourself. It will actually help you mold your own self, and where would you like to see yourself after some years, or whenever. It will empower you in every way, and the change will eventually occur in your life. And without awareness, I don't think there's a change. So yeah, that's the last thing I would like to say.
That's definitely really cool. And is there anything that I didn't touch on that you'd like to, speak more about? Is there anything else that, like, you feel you didn't have an opportunity to, like, share during the interview?
um I guess that's all. I think that's all. Yeah.
Okay, so I think your story was, like, definitely really really cool, and I'm so glad that we got to share it with,
Thank
like,
you. Yeah.
girlhood today. So right now I'm gonna end the Loom recording, and we can transition to talking about the Period Society.
Okay.
Yeah.